Let's talk about marriage, the institution of marriage, why people marry, how many people marry, all that jazz. Hi, this is Liana, Holistic Intimacy Coach. Welcome back to my channel. Here, I help you get your orgasmic intimacy. Disclaimer, because I have the feeling that this material will fall in the hands or under the eyes of therapists. No, I'm not a marriage counselor or licensed marriage therapist, and I do not offer coaching because I'm a sex coach, a certified sexological body worker. I do not offer coaching on marriage. However, this topic reached me because somebody left a comment under a video that I did a while back on what do you feel is the lesser evil in a marriage? Routine, repetition, or sexlessness? Somebody left a comment. I was reluctant initially to do anything with it, precisely because the person deleted it afterwards. But I decided to just share the details of that comment and then give some reactions that I had from my personal Facebook account. There were many women that had an opinion on this. And then I also searched with ChatGPT on marriage rates and the reasons for those rates being how they are right now. So let's start first of all with the comment. Because the person, it was a man, deleted it, I'm not going to put it on screen. However, I'm just going to tell you the gist of it. A man wrote under my video that he had been married and he believed his wife had married him just to have kids. When he refused to have more kids, his wife withdrew sex altogether and was also emotionally distant to him. So after years of marriage, he found himself in a sexless relationship, but also a cold and unsupportive relationship in marriage. Therefore, he said that he had, at the time of writing that comment, he had filed for divorce and he was going for a life with his personal assistant. He was having sex with her, he was having emotional support, therefore he was not regretting his decision at all. Now, I shared not the screenshot of that comment because the man had deleted it, and I also said in my post on my personal Facebook account, this man deleted the comment, but here's the gist of it. And my question at the time was, okay, so do I share my takes on that comment because I had at least a few opinions there, or do I not? And I wasn't expecting people to give me insights on marriage. However, people did give me. So I want to read to you a few. I'm going to put them on screen. They are in Romanian, but I will, by voice, I will translate them in English. Okay, so relax. You don't have to be a Romanian speaker. So the first one goes like this. This is a very important topic, and I'm glad you thought to bring it to light. For hundreds, thousands of years, a large portion of people function based on false programs created by society, and they marry because it is of good taste, living then in dysfunctional relationships. A reevaluation of each individual's reasons would be vital when they enter a relationship, and maybe then relationships would be more authentic, much healthier. Another comment goes like this. People delete comments out of fear of what others will think as they read, out of fear to hurt the involved person. I didn't really have a problem with that man deleting his comment. It was clear that it was a delicate comment, so I didn't judge him in any way. Okay, next comment. The problems in a relationship are effects of the behavior of both people. We know the half of the truth based on his story, but we are yet to find what was her experience. And yes, this was one of my insights. This is just his vision of things. We don't have her, and we will never have her. Even if that comment had stayed public, it was not even a name. It was just a bunch of letters and a photo, which might as well not have been him altogether. And it's not like he signed his name and country or whatever, so gave his email or something. So we have no way of finding out who the wife is and how to get to her story. Okay, so comments like that just share a man's side of things, and that's it. From my coaching experience, because I haven't been married, I am the product of a marriage, obviously, but I haven't been married myself. So I'm going to refrain to make a comment here about what my experience was as a child of a marriage. But in coaching, when I get married couples that also seek me for help to fix the problems that they have in intimacy, a lot of the times their problems come from overwhelm, too many responsibilities that just cut away at their lust for life, pleasure to be alive, pleasure to enjoy one another, or even connection to their own bodies. Okay, a lot of people are overwhelmed with what? With work, chores in the house, how do I say this? Like responsibility responsibility toward the extended family, socializing, maintaining also a social life. All of these things take a lot of time and a lot of energy. And not many people give up on socializing with others or seeing their in-laws more often in order to be relaxed, do nothing, and perhaps also be more connected to their body and therefore be more open to sex. Because if you're just disconnected and running from one place to another, it's not so common that you get turned on and you want to have sex. I'll just put it as it is. Okay? Moving on with the comments now. If you analyze in detail what is behind the intention to marry, you can discover needs and beliefs that at a rational level are not necessarily accessible. I will tell you in private, if I haven't done so already, an insight of mine, which is too intimate to share here. It's possible that a woman marries and accepts intimate relationship with the husband, so long as there is the possibility of a pregnancy. When the man refuses to have one more child, she completely closes or shuts down and refuses intimate relationships. There are people that marry just for religious reasons. Intimate relationships outside of the sacred union being considered a sin. I'm not going to comment here on the limitation of understanding religious or sacred texts, but it is something that people do. I believe this is important to remember, that we as people need to examine very closely our lives to understand why we do what we do and what we can do to have fulfilling relationships from all points of view: intimate, emotional, mental. Another person here, man, said just interesting. Somebody appreciated the drawing that I used in my post. It was an artificial intelligence drawing. Some people said that, I think you can also share posts about this topic. And here's another woman that says like this: well, maybe this man is right. I know many women that marry on grounds of social pressure and also to have kids. After that, they forget they have next to them a man and they focus only on the children. After which, they are surprised that he cheats on them and he is a son of a bitch. That's the translation of the word that she gave. So, what is my insight here? Firstly, we don't know the other side of the story. It could be, like I said earlier, that the woman was overwhelmed and she didn't have in her more energy to be intimate with the guy. It could also be that she didn't like having sex with the guy and she did it because probably she was pressured, although she didn't like it with him. She did it because she felt pressure to have more and more children. Maybe her family was pushing her to have children. Maybe her family had pushed her into marrying this guy for that particular reason. You just don't know how somebody was raised. And this is a topic that would have to be taken into marriage counseling. Maybe they went for that. Maybe this guy didn't have room to put all that information in just one comment. That's also true. Maybe she had sexual trauma and the only reason that she wanted to engage with him was still to have kids, because maybe it was important for her to have children and do her duty to society, or maybe she felt a calling to be a mother. We don't know that either. Maybe there are just a lot of other factors there, so you just don't have the complete version of it. My experience as a child from a marriage, my parents were married, was the following. They were not compatible and I'm talking lifestyle overall. They were bickering about stuff to do in the house, chores, responsibilities, the mess that was in the house and who would clean up and why was it so messy all the time. Sometimes they struggled and they fought over bills, who paid what, who spent time with the children also so the other one could relax. And also my dad cheated a lot until my mom just was fed up with it and she said, that's it, I'm done. And she filed for divorce. I don't believe, based on the information that I have, that they were each other's, the love of their lives. I believe each one of them had different people that they cared for more. My dad even gave a clear explanation and a clear indication of who that person was. My mother didn't, but yeah, not going to get into that discussion also. Now, I'm also going to share with you a discussion that took place, 14 years ago or 16 years ago, between my mother and I. In a context, my mother all of a sudden told me that I should get married because I was in my mid-20s already. And she said that it was a good idea because I was already in my mid-20s and it was a good idea to get married. And my reply was like, Mom, do not ever tell me that. Look at you and Dad. You married because it was a good idea, because you were of the proper age, and you divorced. And we were raised, my sister and I, without a complete family, and you struggled like crazy to keep the whole marriage, the family, sorry. She would complain in front of us that it was too hard. She had to be the mother and the father. She had to work. She had to see us through school and private tutoring and all of that. So I told her, I'm not going to marry just because it's a good idea and I'm of the proper age. If I find somebody with whom I have mutual reciprocity, I've shared in a lot of videos, I have really high standards. And the high standards that I have in life are not the ones that most people have. I want reciprocity, attraction, emotion, way of looking at life, and I want compatibility. I'm not talking just sexual, I'm talking overall in life, in everyday life. Because I've seen my mother and father struggling like crazy because they were incompatible people. I'm not talking lovers in intimacy, I'm talking incompatible people. A lot of people don't realize many couples bicker of the stupidest stuff, of the way they relate to their responsibilities towards society, towards the extended family, sometimes even to children. That's what I call lack of compatibility or incompatibility. That's why my very high standards are reciprocity and compatibility. Reciprocity in more levels, compatibility overall, especially in daily life because you're sharing your life with this person, not just your bed. So yeah, those are very high standards. I don't look at somebody's bank account. I don't look at how tall they are. I don't look at, I don't know, how they dress or whatever. Primarily, I primarily look at reciprocity and compatibility. And those are really, a lot of couples struggle because those two are not in place first and foremost. Because if those are in place, those people are a force of society. Those are what you'd call actually the power couple nowadays. They reciprocate each other and they're compatible. That's why they work. That's why they freaking turn business opportunities into ventures. That's why they're still, grabbing for each other after years and years of marriage. That's why they're enjoying their company, because they have reciprocity and compatibility. Okay? Marriage between two people that have reciprocity and compatibility is not a chore, it's a joy. I'm not saying it's perfect, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's not a chore. So yeah, there was no way I could have, first of all, the guy that left that comment there, he deleted it, so there was no way I could share my thoughts. And I don't know if he's going to see this video or not. I sincerely hope that he does not forget that overall, we still need to look in a marriage. Although I'm not a marriage counselor, okay? I'm just an intimacy coach. But reciprocity on multiple levels, and compatibility overall. Those are important. The butterflies that we have in the initial stages, or first 3 years, let's say, there was a book, even Love Lasts 3 Years, it's due to hormones. A lot of it. And when your hormones are balanced, when the newness is gone, if you're not reciprocating each other and if you're not compatible, you're going to have to work. It's an uphill from there. Like, you have to work a lot, you struggle a lot, and it might not be so satisfying because maybe you're not compatible. And no matter how much work you do, what can you do there? And also I want to get, I don't think I have, it's already a long video, but I asked ChatGPT to give me the marriage rates and their evolution in the past 20 years. And I chose several countries. What did I choose? I chose Canada, USA. From the European continent, I chose UK. I chose the Scandinavian peninsula, so Finland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark. I chose France, Spain. I chose Belgium, Luxembourg, Germany, Poland, the Czech Republic, Estonia, Lithuania, Slovenia, Slovakia, Romania, Croatia, Serbia. And then I also chose from the Asian continent, I chose China, South Korea, and Japan. In most countries, the marriage rates have been declining for the past 20 years. The cohabitation rates have been increasing in most countries. So it's not that people are not having relationships. It's that people are not choosing to get married. And there are multiple reasons for that. Again, I asked ChatGPT to give me a lot of detailed explanation. And some of the stuff were with social changes. Okay, there's less and less pressure to marry. The negative perception of marriage. And this one, there were economical factors. With the instability of income nowadays and the increased costs of living, people don't feel ready and able to marry. With people working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, they would rather cohabitate for a given period of time than make a commitment for life towards an extended family also, and towards society when they're not really stable on their own 2 feet. So that one is, out of all the reasons that ChatGPT, I understand those the most. And when I'm looking, because I'm particularly interested now in what happens in China and South Korea, the reason people are not having children and marrying are also primarily because of economical situations and the really low income and high costs of living. People can't afford a home. So where can they can't afford to put a child through education. That one's getting more and more expensive. So people are not marrying and they're not having children also. Another reason that ChatGPT gave was the tendency for individualism. More people choose to focus on, first of all, attaining their financial resources. A lot of people struggle in that department still. People then try to focus on themselves. A lot of people are products of dysfunctional marriages, and that leaves scars on people. And because they went through rough stuff, they're at least aware that they're not fit to raise children, and they don't want to bring children in a similar environment that they grew in. And also there's the tendency to travel, to grow, develop themselves. Another reason that was given was with technology and social media, and I would put this one under the umbrella of the hookup culture. Nowadays, it's so easy to hook up with somebody and it's so easy to find somebody that people are not willing to stick to a relationship, let alone marriage, for the long run. It's too simple to just hook up with somebody, those that engage like that. So people are just less reluctant to put in the effort to build a marriage. Another explanation that ChatGPT gave, but I didn't really understand how that one contributed to decreasing marriage rates, was same-sex marriage. In my mind, if more and more countries allow for same-sex marriage, then the marriage rate should go up, right? Because I can't, in my brain, straight people that want to marry don't have a problem if LGBT people marry. Like, they're not going to be affected, right? Unless a lot of people that were actually LGBT married into straight marriages for social pressure, and now, but still, because those people are still the ones that get into relationships. Like, this shouldn't contribute, in my opinion, to decreasing marriage rates. So I don't know how to wrap my brain around this one. I have a question mark around it. But the truth is, if you look at numbers, the marriage rate is decreasing. The reasons probably differ from culture to culture. Economical reasons, I can understand that those are everywhere across the planet. Absolutely. Hookup culture, yeah, it's pervasive now, also with technology, and I can understand how it negatively affects people. My overall take is the institution of marriage is no longer trusted. Not entirely, like there are people that still marry, but the marriage rate is going down, down, down. I don't have solutions on how to fix this. And I also don't give marriage coaching advice or counseling advice. I don't do that. I will stick to my field, but I wanted to bring this perspective, my own perspective. Like, I was raised in a marriage that didn't function well, and for me, I chose not to repeat the pattern. I am pro-marriage. I do wish to get married with somebody that I have reciprocity and compatibility. That is very high standard in concrete, palpable life. That's what my life showed me. But I'm not willing to lower my standards, because I know that without these two, reciprocity and compatibility overall, it goes really bad, and a lot of people suffer, the two people, parents that marry, and also the children. And that's really not something that I want to put anybody else through, including myself. So, yeah, people married in the past because there was an entire social construction around that. Nowadays, people choose not to. However, relationships still happen, and cohabitation rates are increasing. So people still get in relationships. It's just that the marriage institution right now is seeing a fall from grace. Hopefully it will get back into grace. But I think for that, the whole planet needs to relax. The economy needs to be more sustaining, or state governments need to sustain marriages more. Right now, it's not happening at a global level. So that's my take. I'm curious what your vision is around the institution of marriage. You don't have to share from your personal life. If you wish to, sure. If not, absolutely no problem. And I'll hear you, or I'll see you in the next video.